Superhero Stuff You Should Know is part of the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Hey, this is Ben from Superhero Stuff You Should Know, and I have an important announcement for you guys. At the end of every single episode of Superhero Stuff You Should Know, you might hear us shout out to our fans, one of whom is Matt Herring, who was one of the original SuperHouse fans. He's always given us his support, and now it's time that we support him. We've just recently found out that Matt has been diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And as a cancer survivor myself, I know personally that there's a lot of emotional and financial strain that comes into that. His wife, Kelly, has set up a GoFundMe account at gofundme.com/F/Matthew-Kicks-Cancer039S-Butt. And hopefully you can help reduce the financial strain to that, as well as some of the emotional strain that comes with that. Again, that's gofundme.com/F/Matthew-Kicks-Cancer039S-Butt.
Matt Herring was the first, I guess you could say, true SuperHouse fan. We were SuperHouse at that time. The first fan of this podcast and what we do here, and has always supported us, talked about us, and he's from a town close to where I'm from, and so we share that as well, and just a huge superhero fan, and nerd like the rest of us. And now he's going through that, and if you could donate just at least any amount of money to that link that Ben just said, that would be truly appreciated. Just hang in there, Matt. You'll beat this thing soon.
So, Jason, just wondering, I was wondering why you named yourself after my favorite restaurant to go on cheat day.
What are you talking about, Bruce? I'm Red Robin because of the blood of my enemies.
I think you just really love their double cheeseburger and fries.
I mean, I do, but, the blood of my enemies. I just thought it would be a cool way to rename Robin.
It's not even similar. It's exactly the fucking same. I mean, I'm surprised their lawyers aren't coming after you with the trademark shit.
I mean, it's a bit hard for them to find me, considering I'm just hiding in the shadows, but yeah. I just add in, why, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Never underestimate fast food lawyers, Jason.
It's Red Robin.
Who gives a fuck anymore?
Well, I do. It's my name.
The name's a fucking burger joint name. Yeah, I'm gonna change it. Your name is now Revolver.
Revolver? I don't use revolvers. I use Glocks.
It's close enough, and it sounds cool.
Wait, why do you think it sounds cool? I thought you hated guns.
I think they're cool in movies.
It's just I wanted a name for my own, like Robin.
Your own? It's not your own, though. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's got a fucking trademark already.
Yeah, well, at least some other costume vigilante doesn't have the name before me. I get to have it now.
What are you talking about? I'm fucking original as shit. Only one superhero before me, and that's Big Blue, but fuck that guy right now. Fucking dweeb.
I mean, if you really want us to team up, I could load in some kryptonite bullets into my Glock, and we could, go after him.
I'm going to say I hate that, but then turn around, and then not going to see what you do, and then I'm willing to go in the direction that you want to go.
Alright, so you're in then.
I didn't say that, but I'm turning around now.
Bruce, there he is. Here, I'll shoot him down. Hey, Bruce and Red Robin, how are you both?
How's it going? Don't say my fucking name out and loud. But, hey, Jason.
Yeah?
I'm turning around again.
Alright, guns a-blazing. I heard that. Alright, welcome to Superhero Stuff You Should Know, a SuperHouse podcast. I am once again the man who knows too much about Batman, and I got my gauntlets now in time for Halloween. For those who are watching the YouTube version. And with me, as usual, is...
Hey everybody, it's Andrew. What's going on? It is time to talk about
motherfucking death.
Well, the death before the resurrection and Under the Red Hood. So this is our prequel to everything you don't know about Under the Red Hood. This is now everything you don't know about A Death in the Family. As you can see here, pictured here, the original trade paperback that I've had since like I don't know, the mid-90s. So this is one of the first comics I ever bought, actually.
Iconic cover. This cover here.
Yes,
for sure.
So basically, I thought we would start with talking a little bit about a follow-up from the last episode where you challenged, let's put up a poll. What do people prefer?
I cannot believe these results. I thought
can.
Under the Red Hood was way... I thought it'd be closer at least. It was a fucking landslide.
Yeah, no.
I admit defeat, Ben.
Well, let me reveal the results.
Okay.
So on Instagram stories, 81% for Masking the Phantasm. All right. 19% for Under the Red Hood.
19%.
It was a little better on Twitter. Twitter gives you more time.
Oh, okay.
75% for Mask of the Phantasm.
25%.
25% for the Under the Red Hood. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I admit defeat.
But I mean, they're both really solid. Though.
I was wrong.
They're both extremely solid and both have similar themes.
There's a reason we're putting them against each other.
Yeah, like it's a tough call. It's still his choice.
Yeah.
You know, on this. So in terms of Batman animated movies.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. I think they're both fantastic. I love both of them.
Yes.
So we're at least agreed on that.
They're classics.
Yes. But yeah,
the Red Hood is a modern classic, more modern.
Mm-hmm. And it's been updated, so we did not get a sequel or prequel to Mask of the Phantasm, at least in animated form. But we did get one just recently with the new Death in the Family short. We have just seen it right now. You get fresh reactions, guys.
This is one of the most fresh. Well, we did what Batman versus Dracula I had just watched right before it, I think.
Might have been, yeah. That one or Batwoman.
There was a couple.
Yeah,
there was a couple
that
we did back
yeah.
like in the early days. You know, whenever you were first coming on as a real host, and not just a correspondent.
Yes, indeed. So, what were your thoughts on the short that we've just seen? The many versions, that is.
I like that it obviously shares so much DNA with Under the Red Hood, and it's a little tough because we literally just finished watching. I'm still sort of unpacking it.
Right.
I love that the phrase "unpacking" became a thing because it I guess you could say I'm still processing it. But anyway, yeah. I honestly feel like I have a thing, and I don't expect anybody to agree with me on this one. And I'm not trying to be contrarian, but I love the scenes where they're just sitting and having a coffee.
Oh yeah.
So even though the first one is anticlimactic as fuck.
You're referring to the one that ends with spoilers for everybody else.
This is a spoiler-filled podcast for Batman, Death in the Family, mainly the Blu-ray, but also the comic. So please stop that. Watch it now. It just came out.
Yeah.
If you're concerned about spoilers, if you're not, if you've already seen it, yeehaw, motherfucker. Let's keep on going.
Let's keep going. So this is the ending with Superman.
I love the one with
Clark,
Superman. Superman shows up. Clark. There's a scene in Young Justice where where they're like,
it's very
similar. It's like, Bruce, we have to have a talk. Or was that what it was? It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah, it's one where they're talking about, I think it's Bruce telling Superman he has to be a proper father to
Superboy.
Kent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's kind of a weird, role reversal.
It's a reversal.
You would think it would be the other way around.
I love that. I love the that's right. I love the New Year's Eve stuff on Batman B-Taz. So, like, actually, apropos, I'm wearing a coffee shirt. I'm a huge coffee fan, and I don't know what it is, dude. But also the first one we watched, the 30-minute one, the one that ends in the cafe, or the diner. It's completely from Bruce's narration, and I love that because that probably, especially to you, I mean, of course, I've read some comics, but not nearly as much as you. But that reminds you of inner monologue you're reading in the comics, correct?
Yeah.
Whenever you see narration,
it does, and it adds a lot of. Even though it's mostly a recap of Under the Red Hood, which I thought at first was like, this is kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
But I appreciated the character insights.
Yeah.
That you get.
I love that.
There's certain things where you're just like, oh, I never thought that Bruce would think that way about that scene that I saw 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
That was that was probably the saving grace of that path.
You feel close to Bruce in this. It's emotionally driven, and I think that's why it was really strong. The whenever you get Jason Todd's inner monologue and his narration, it's good, but it's just not as good as Bruce's. Man.
Right? Yeah.
There's a reason Bruce is the main man.
Right.
Like Jason Todd he's good, and honestly, I'm not the right age for Jason Todd. I feel like. in a sense.
It's more of a...
If I was a young 20s, late teens,
Yeah, I
oh
was
my
gonna say
God,
that,
are you
yeah.
kidding me? I'm all over it. I would have loved that, but,
Yeah.
you know, it's good. It's all good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I think we're the more mature adult Bruce.
We're adult Batman fans.
Adult
here.
Batman fans.
We kind of are, though. I mean,
Yes, we are.
we are sort of a kind of a mature Batman podcast, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In a way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when we're not making fucking jokes.
Yes. I loved it. I love the different paths. We'll go into which path was my favorite, and we'll go into which one your favorite was when we get there.
I already revealed it.
Oh, really?
I mean, that was it, right? Oh, you mean from there?
Well, like
from the explosion.
From the explosion, yeah.
Okay.
Because you have many different paths, and the most anticlimactic one is just to go with the same continuity as Under the Red Hood, because that doesn't really show you much that's new, and kind of adds a little bit more to what was in Under the Red Hood. But other than that, it's pretty much what you would expect. It's the more unexpected choices that threw me, and there were a couple moments that that I've told you where my jaw dropped, and I'm like, really? They're doing this?
They weren't.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. I was going to ask, but I'll wait on it.
Okay, all right.
I'll wait on it.
But let's start with the stuff that happens before the branching, before like all the shit like goes down and you get to choose like which path you want to go. A lot of it is based off of this comic. Yeah. How familiar are you with the Death in the Family comic?
Not at all, man. I wish that's one I do want to read. I haven't gotten around to it. Again, I am not a super casual Bat fan. I've read many of the comics, nowhere near been. Seen all the movies, of course, most of the animation. But I just, even some of the greats like this, I know this is a classic, but I just have never read Death in the Family, the comics version.
Right.
I don't think so.
Well,
there's sometimes I'm like, oh, I did read that. But I'm pretty sure I haven't read it.
Right, okay. So this came about in the 80s because of the fact that there was this idea to use phone calls to sort of interact with the comic, which is why this movie is interactive on the Blu-ray. Yeah. So the editor, Denny O'Neil, figured he could take advantage of that, and he was like, it has to be a big decision, so it's got to be a death, but it can't just be some bullshit death of like, will this random person that we introduced in the first issue, you know, die at the end of said issue? Yeah, stupid. Right. Nobody will care. It has
Clayface's niece.
Yeah, it has to be an established character for people to give a shit. And this version of Robin, the way that Jim Starlin, the writer, was characterizing him, as I covered in the Under the Red Hood podcast, it was just not popular with readers. The readers were used to the Dick Grayson dynamic.
He was the Damien of his time.
Yeah, they weren't used to grim dark. Yeah, like Damien was super popular in 2005, 2006 or so when he got introduced, but that was the 2000s. We're talking about the 80s. People were kind of still a little bit more used to their take on things, and so they didn't like that this is a dark Robin, right, or whatever. So Denny O'Neil thought maybe we do something where he gets in danger and we leave it up to the audience to vote whether or not Jason Todd gets to stay as Robin. Okay. Over here. So he kind of saw it as the way to solve his Robin problem and do the stunt at the same time. So
correct me if I'm wrong, Denny O'Neil created Jason Todd.
No, he didn't. He was technically created by Jerry Conway in the 80s, but this new version of him was brought about in the comics by Max Allan Collins and then characterized with the grim dark sort of version that we talked about in the last episode of the whole diplomat's son who rapes that girl and everything. Like, that's all Jim Starlin. Okay. So
Starlin, man, he's a fucking MVP, and he created Thanos and like, I don't know. I feel people should know his name more, probably.
Yeah, I know, right? Especially after the Infinity War Endgame duology.
They made a fucking purple-headed raisin-looking motherfucker an actual, like, one of their best villains. Yeah. Honestly, like, Loki kind of got annoying after a while, but, like, Thanos was, like, a badass motherfucker all the way through.
And he had that impact in just 2 movies, really.
In just 2 movies.
Because sure, he had cameos in the others, but you didn't really get to know who he was.
Right. Yeah. Right. They just didn't have... We'll finish this tangent soon. But they didn't have the full Loki plan figured out for 20 fucking movies. That's the problem.
Yeah, probably.
You know what I mean? They had a Thanos plan for 2 movies.
Mm-hmm. So it was a way to build up to him.
Yeah, yeah.
But over here, Death in the Family started, it was from Batman issue number 426 to 429. So it was only 4 issues, really. Okay. Writers were, as you can see on the front, Jim Starlin, with Jim Aparo doing the pencils, and the inker was Mike DiCarlo, colorist was Adrian Roy, and letterer was John Costanza. And 426 and 427 was basically everything to set up to this adventure.
Yeah.
Until at the end, 427 is the classic Joker with the crowbar,
Right.
explosions, everything. Batman arrives with the explosion, and that was the cliffhanger.
Okay.
And that was when there was an ad saying Robin will die because the Joker wants revenge, but you can prevent that with one phone call.
Wow. Okay.
So
they had to vote, right?
Yeah, they had different phone numbers for each one. You call
God.
one for him to live, and you call another for him to die, and you had 36 hours to do this.
And it probably costs extra too, right?
Yeah, there's probably some toll number or whatever. in order to do
50
this.
cents, which was like $3 in the 80s.
But you had from 8 a.m. EST on September 16th to 8 p.m. the next evening.
It was just one
Or to
day
vote.
to call.
36 hours, yeah. So a
36
little over
hours.
one day, yeah.
Do you know if it was free or not?
I don't know, but I have a feeling based off of another story that's coming out, it probably was, and I'm sure it was a toll-free number.
If it wasn't, it just seems like one of those things where it's one of those numbers that showed up in the bill that
Yeah.
your parents would get mad about. You know what I mean?
Like, why? Like, Tim, what's this bill for? I don't
Oh, I
recognize
had
this.
to call to kill Robin. What are you talking about?
All right, can you just give me a general prediction or estimate how many calls you think there were to vote on this?
This is a good
Just
question.
in total, yeah. Because I have the exact numbers.
Wow. I'm going to what I think is lowballing, 200,000.
Ooh, that's actually way higher than what it was.
Oh, okay.
It was actually 10,614 calls.
Okay.
How close do you think it was, or how far do you think it was?
Oh, these games. I think 65% to kill.
So you think it was mostly Jason Todd will die?
They voted to kill him, right?
I mean, they did, but I was just asking, how do you think it was close, or do you think it was like overwhelmingly, like vast majority?
I think 65% wanted to kill him.
Okay. So the final tally was 5,271 people wanted to kill him. 5,343 were
it's so
against
close.
it. So 72 votes.
Wow.
72.
And you say your vote doesn't count in this country.
Go out and vote, everybody. O'Neill had heard a story that there was one guy who programmed a computer. This is high tech in the 80s. Programs a computer to dial the thumbs down number every 90 seconds. So maybe he was the one who made the big difference and was the extra 72 calls. Who knows?
Are you serious? Somebody
Yeah.
did that?
Somebody did that according to Denny O'Neill. He was
Oh,
told
wow.
that, yeah. So it's wild, but obviously
They don't know for sure even now.
They don't know, at least.
Okay. They don't have a way to retroactively find out who hacked in the 80s.
I'm sure, like, that guy is a huge Batman fan, and once he probably has heard Denny O'Neill say that, and it's up to him to out himself. I'm sure
Okay.
or maybe there already is an article on that. Who knows?
Okay. That's an interesting fact.
Yeah.
Dude, back at that time, you could probably hack the fucking like World Bank with
Yeah.
with a fucking like DOS computer, one of those shitty computers. Like
Yeah.
if you really wanted to, I don't know, man. It just seemed like it was wild, like hardly any cybersecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, it's
especially comic book thing. That
It's-
would have
it's
been
wild.
probably pretty
Yeah.
easy to hack.
yeah. And okay, so next question then: if you were a fan of the '80s and you were reading this,
Yeah.
which would you have voted for? Continue grim dark Robin or kill him off?
That's an interesting choice.
If you are who
because
you are now, but just in 1988.
I normally
yeah.
wouldn't want to kill because
Mhm.
I don't know. Like in Ghost of Tsushima, I chose to leave the guy alive at the end.
Yeah.
But spoilers on that one. But anyway, but I'm not a huge fan of Grimdark at the same time.
Right, so it's not that you're killing him. The Joker killed him. It's just whether or not he survives the explosion.
If he's, I haven't read that time period of Jason Todd, but I mean, if he was super annoying, maybe. I don't know. My natural inclination is to let him live, though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say official answer: let him live.
Yeah, I probably would have too.
Yeah.
And probably have used the experience to have humbled him. You know,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Yeah.
To make him a little bit more of a likable Robin to people. It would have been completely different. It would have changed Batman's entire history if this whole thing, didn't go down that way. We wouldn't have had Under the Red Hood.
That's right.
You know, So Batman 428 was the one that revealed the ending, that he was dead.
Okay.
But there was an alternate page that was written in case he was voted to live.
Yeah, right.
But the thing is, and here's what's weird to me, and I'll show it to people who are watching on the video, the covers to each one had the title A Death in the Family throughout all of them.
Right.
So if Jason was going to live, what was the death going to be? That's my main question. I've yet to find an answer to that.
It was the name. Well, yeah, you're right.
You know?
Yeah.
Unless it's like some sort of metaphorical death that Jason goes through from the experience. I don't know. But that's never really been answered for me. I can't find anything on that. But what I do know is that they did kill Jason Todd, and they got apparently a ton of hate mail on it. Like
It's just funny, a bunch of 80s nerds have a bunch of bloodlust, but they don't like the whiny-ass Todd.
Right. Well, I think it's also probably from people who didn't get what it was, who didn't participate in this at all. So the people who voted in, I imagine you were just like, you got what you wanted. But
yeah.
You know, if you're somebody who just grew up with the 60s series, and then in the 80s you hear that they killed Robin off in the comics, you're thinking, how dare they kill off Burt Ward? Like, you don't know about Jason Todd, you don't know about anything on here.
Right.
Denny O'Neil said that he spent all day on the phone instead of actually doing his job to answer all of these people. I'm surprised he even took the calls, honestly.
Yeah. He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
Super, like, ridiculously nice.
He said that they had to remind people that this was not a real kid.
Oh yeah, okay.
So this is ink and paper, he says in the there's a documentary called The Batman on DC Universe, and that's what he says on there about the Death in the Family experience. So
God, I feel like I've seen that.
Yeah,
anyway,
that was great. It's a great documentary just to get his insights on things. But that's what he had to go up against. There was naturally an amount of hate mail on that, and afterwards. I'll put this out there. Here's a new fun fact that I don't think a lot of people know. The original Death in the Family adaptation was actually in 1996 on audio drama called Legends of Robin.
Well, shit, there's the bat tutelage right there for you.
It combined A Lonely Place of... it combined A Death in the Family with A Lonely Place of Dying, which is what introduced Tim Drake. And it was basically the sort of crossover from going from Jason Todd's death, to Tim Drake donning the Robin outfit.
Okay.
All right. Joker was voiced by Mark Hamill in the audio drama. So Mark Hamill, even though barely anybody has heard this performance, Mark Hamill killed Jason Todd.
Wow.
A long ass time ago.
This is pre-BTAS.
This is the middle of BTAS. This is 1996.
Okay.
They cast him because he was part of it.
Okay,
But this is like one of those more obscure, like, Mark Hamill performances.
Right.
So, for anybody curious on what it sounds like of Mark Hamill's Joker killing Jason Todd, we're going to play a clip for you right now.
Wasn't very nice hitting Uncle Joker. You've been a bad boy. Prepare yourself for a severe spanking, young man. But let me tell you right from the start, this is going to hurt you a lot more than it does me. My, that was fun. Messy, though. Yuck.
So what do you think?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Zach's so close to him too.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a preview for you guys. You can find that on YouTube. We will add a link in the description for anybody watching our YouTube version. A link in the description for the playlist where you can hear that version that an uploader has put up. But that was the original Death in the Family adaptation before we got to the opening of Under the Red Hood, and of course now the Blu-ray.
So this was like an audio book? What was this?
It was an audio, it was an audio cassette.
Audio comic kind of thing?
It was an audio cassette.
They release
tape,
those every now and again.
Yeah. There's a bunch. I had one for like Two-Face and Riddler in the 90s.
Books on tape, people used to say.
I grew up with the one of the Untold Legend of the Batman, which is like an 80s comic, very 80s theme song and stuff. I loved it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There are a few Batman and Superman audiobooks on Audible. And I kind of like want to. That would be a cool thing to like do a deep dive review on later on down the line.
Right. Yeah. So I think there's definitely one that I want to check out. called Enemies and Allies, which is like Batman and Superman teaming up for the first time, but in the 50s.
Okay.
So that's going to be interesting. But anyway, let's then dive a little bit into comparisons between the short that we saw, at least everything leading up to the explosion, and the comic. So it's pretty close, actually, in terms of the whole Batman sees that Jason is too brutal and decides to bench him.
Right.
So that's pretty much like in the comic. However, the big thing that they cut out of the movie is that the reason why Jason goes across the world is not to track Joker. In the comic, Batman's tracking Joker.
Right.
In the comic, Jason basically feels like he's kicked out of Wayne Manor or kicked away from Bruce. So he does some soul searching, and he finds out that the mom who he thought was his real mom is not the name on the birth certificate.
Okay.
It has a different name on the birth certificate that's kind of like smushed out or whatever, but it has a letter on it, starting with the letter S. And so he decides to track down the three women whose first names start with S that's in his dad's address book. So he gets 3 names, and that's why he goes across the world. It's actually Batman who goes across the world to investigate Joker, because Joker is true to what happens in the movie. He's trying to sell a big weapon to terrorists. In the comic, it's a missile, but in the movie, it's just a bunch of uranium. And then they go to. It's not Bosnia, but it is actually several parts of the Middle East. So there's like in Lebanon and a lot of places. But in one case, this is what I don't get. Jason Todd's dad was supposed to be a henchman of Two-Face's, who was killed.
Okay.
Apparently, the 3 candidates are a woman who turns out to be an Israeli Secret Service agent.
Okay.
And the other one is Lady Shiva. And I'm like, how does this thug know these 2?
Right.
But neither one turn out to be the mother. The real mother is actually in Ethiopia, and she's a doctor named Sheila Haywood. And Sheila is there because she was disgraced. She did a botched abortion operation. And Joker seems to know about that and is using that to blackmail her.
Joker knows everything.
Joker apparently knows everything, yeah. So, and it just so happens that when Joker's there to blackmail her to sort of use her medical trucks for him to transport his Joker gas, that's when Jason and Bruce show up, because Jason thinks that that's his mom, and she confirms that years ago she did have a relationship with Willis Todd, his dad.
Who's Willis Todd?
His dad.
That's it.
I mean, he's a henchman of Two-Face's before Two-Face killed him.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, yeah. And it's because of the fact, though, that... So in the movie, it's just basically... They see Ra's al Ghul's men take off with the uranium and stuff while there's the warehouse with Joker inside. And even though Batman tells Jason to stay put, Jason decides to go in anyway.
Okay.
Kind of a dumb move. However, in the comic, it's better explained, because in the comic, he refuses because he wants to help his mom out.
Yes. So the mom's cut out of this entirely.
Yeah, exactly. Now, to be fair, they were going off the continuity of Under the Red Hood, because they didn't present her in the opening of Under the Red Hood, and it would have complicated that as well if you showed her in that. But in the comic, he goes in to try to rescue her, and it turns out she's a little bit more in league with Joker than he thought, and so she pulls a gun on him and gives him up to Joker. So she actually betrays him, and it gets dark as fuck. So this is the darkest moment from Jim Starlin, is as Joker is beating Jason with a crowbar, his mom watches and then turns around and smokes a cigarette.
She's just a piece of shit mom.
She's just a piece of shit mom, until Joker's like, oh, I shouldn't leave any evidence, so I'm just going to tie you up here and set a bomb so that you can die with your son.
Okay.
So now she cares about it.
I mean, so she's just a total piece of shit, like...
Pretty much.
Why she's so shitty?
I mean, let's think of it this way. She doesn't know Jason. He's only showed up for the last couple of minutes, and
she's like Shazam's mom in the final in that movie.
Yeah, like she's not really invested in him so much as protecting herself. And then when Joker turns the tables on her, and Jason is recovered enough to sort of move around, like you see in the movie,
right.
They decide to break out together. So Jason then unties her, and then leads her to the door, only to find that the door is locked. And then the place explodes. Okay. And that definitely kills her. She dies in front of Batman when Batman's trying to find Jason's body.
Okay.
So that version stayed pretty true, other than that. And the final issue of the Death in the Family story is Batman trying to almost get revenge on Joker And it's an insane story where the Joker is now the Iranian ambassador at the UN, and once again, he's got diplomatic immunity.
The 90s, y'all.
So Joker's got diplomatic immunity because
this was in the 90s, correct?
80s, 88.
This is 80.
Yeah.
Oh, 88, yeah.
He represents Iran over here.
How does this happen?
I don't know, but the Ayatollah apparently he shows up in here and offers the job to Joker. And
hashtag 80s, y'all.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Superman actually shows up. So this is partially why I think Clark Kent shows up at the end of that short.
Okay.
Is because Superman plays a role at the end of the original Death in the Family, trying to coerce Bruce not to kill the Joker.
Okay.
And they do end up working together, and naturally there's a confrontation with Batman and Joker is presumably dead, but he's going to come back. And that's the end of that issue.
Okay.
So that's pretty much how the comic goes. Obviously, they cut out the Iranian ambassador, all that shit.
That part's a little too silly, probably.
It's not needed.
Yeah.
But those are pretty much the main things. Do you think that they made the right move in cutting the whole mom subplot?
From what I hear, yeah.
Yeah. I think it just would have been too dark.
Right.
For that. I mean, this is already dark enough as it is. You don't need to add more darkness to it.
Yes,
that's
right.
Yeah, the only thing that it adds, the mom thing adds, is a better motivation for him to go into the warehouse.
That's pretty much it. The whole, like, her just turning away, it's like, it's not set up well.
Yeah, no.
It's not set up well.
Yeah. It's not great.
From a writing standpoint, as it were.
Sorry, Mr. Starling.
But, hey, who are we?
Yeah.
A couple of jackasses on the internet.
So when we get back from the break, we will cover all the alternate paths and the comic book connections to that. See you then.
Joker's kidnapped Robin and taken him to a warehouse downtown. I've got to get there and help him. But what ride should I take? The Batcycle would be the fastest, probably, and the funnest, if I'm to be honest. But the Batmobile's probably the most reliable, and probably the most menacing, so it'd clear traffic. The Batboat I could take. I haven't taken the boat in a while. No, none of that. How about the Bat Truck?
Gee whiz, I sure am about to die.
Should I take the Bat Bicycle? I've been meaning to work out. Should I take the Bat Fat Tire Cruiser? It's been a while since I've hit the beaches. Maybe I'll dust off the Bat Scooter and take it for a spin. Boy, I sure hope Robin's delaying the Joker from doing anything crazy.
Surely Batman's already on his way.
I feel like I can be pretty discerning here because my ward and protege, Robin, can handle himself. I'm kind of leaning back towards the Batcycle again. Alfred!
Yes, sir?
What should I take out here? The Joker's, he's up to some shit. Robin's taking care of it, but I should probably go.
I suggest the usual game of eeny, meeny, miny, and mo.
You're a bloody genius, all right.
I dare say I am, sir.
Oh, that crowbar really does smart.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by his toe. If he... wait a minute. How the hell does the rest of that one go? Oh, shit. Yeah, Bat Truck.
All right, everybody, if you like that little preview to the sketch right there, we have that plus news, plus we're bringing back some opinion pieces and review type stuff and all kinds of stuff in our $5 tier on Patreon. So just go to patreon.com/superherostuffpod, and if you become part of the $5 tier, you can see these new bonus episodes. Basically, consider it SuperHouse DLC.
This transmission is being interrupted to bring you an important message. Joker here. Now, I know you're all very disappointed because you were trying to listen to the Bozo Super Sunday show, but I've got a special treat for you instead. It's my favorite podcast, Superhero Stuff You Should Know. What's that? You don't want to listen? Too bad. I've already got it on every station in Gotham. So go ahead, give it a listen, and I promise it'll leave you with a smile on your face.
And we are back to discuss more of A Death in the Family. As you can see, we got the Blu-ray right in front of us for those who are watching the YouTube version. And as I'm not sure if we made this clear enough, on the Blu-ray, that is the only way that you can do the interactive part. If you get the digital version, it'll give you an hour-and-a-half movie that is just the version with the Superman part, and then a whole bunch of unrelated shorts with Sergeant Rock, Death, Adam Strange. I think there's probably like one more that I'm missing on there, but a whole bunch of them, and it's the bonus features that have the 3 alternate paths that we're about to talk about on here. So
they all start off the same way.
And they all start off the same way,
so you
by
might
the
have
way.
to skip if you're going in order, if you're watching this all in a row.
Yeah, so you
Heads
can
up.
comfortably skip through all the way up until Batman's approaching the motorcycle, approaching the building with a motorcycle. So we'll see. Then again, we did say this is a spoiler-filled episode, so we're probably just preaching to the choir right now. But just in case,
That's true. But,
Just in
but you'd be
case.
surprised if people just don't care.
yeah,
And
just in case.
Now we just help those people out.
Yeah, in case you were like on the fence and you're using this podcast to determine, should I get it, should I not? Definitely get it, but here's how to get it.
I
Or here's how
generally
you can get
don't
it.
care about spoilers unless it's like The Batman by Matt Reeves or something like super, like I'm like number one looking forward to. I don't know. I'm not super spoiler sensitive.
I kind of wish those set photos weren't up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop following some of these people, man. That is I think they know they don't release until 2022, and they're like, fuck it, people will forget.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if we get a closer look at like Colin Farrell's Penguin compared to the trailer, but some of the other stuff, I was like,
they're in a fucking bat robe walking around on set
I'm like,
outside. They have the
I didn't
worst
need to see
security
this.
I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They really don't care. If anybody's lost, there's just a bunch of set photos from the Batman in Liverpool, somewhere in England.
Yeah. Apparently,
And Grant Morrison, that's got to be Grant
I
Morrison.
don't think it's Grant Morrison.
It's not. Okay.
There's a picture of a bald man on set that we debated whether or not is Grant Morrison. We will find out in the actual movie.
It looks a lot, but it looks a little bit more stout than Grant Morrison, I
Yeah.
think. But it looks very, very similar.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, he does. I'll give you that. So there were 3 alternate routes outside of the regular Death in the Family. Because if you just vote for Jason Todd dying from the explosion, you get basically a prequel/sequel to Under the Red Hood.
Right.
So I'm going to go in the order that we saw it. So the first one was called Jason Todd's Rebellion, where Jason does get blown up in the explosion, but he actually survives. And when Batman finds him, he says, "Oh my God, he's alive," which is a reference to that page that alternate page that Jim Aparo drew.
Just in case
they voted for him to live.
Right.
And then we get to see Ace the Bounty Hound when Jason is like recovering from stuff and he's surrounded by Bat Family. Bat Cow is not in there. The Bat Cow didn't show up until Damien showed up, though. So that makes sense.
That shit's ridiculous.
So clearly, Jason Todd does not become the Red Hood, but he becomes something else, someone else.
Right.
Yes, who looks suspiciously like Hush, right?
Yes.
So they never actually name him that.
Yeah. Does he have a name in this little short?
They keep calling him Robin.
Okay.
In that. So I'm like, you should have just gone with Hush. I
mean, he's Hush Robin.
In the DC fandom panel for Death in the Family, they did call him Hush, though. So
he's a hush puppy you get at Red Robin.
This is a reference, however, to the actual Hush story.
Okay.
In Batman 617 and 618, again, this is not in the Hush animated movie. So if you've only seen the animated movie, this is not in there. They made you think at one point that Jason Todd was Hush.
Okay.
And he shows up in the bandages, and he undoes the bandages, and he's even got the, you know how this version of Jason has the R on his chest underneath the coat? That was in there.
Okay.
In the Jim Lee version. And then towards the end, there's this fight with Batman in a cathedral, and Batman figures out that he's like, "You are not the Robin who died." And then he turns into clay.
Oh shit.
And it's revealed that it's Clayface.
Wow. He gets used a lot more.
Yeah.
Well, of course he does.
Yeah. But in Batman Annual number 25, Judd Winnick revealed that it was Jason in the cemetery, and then at some point they switched so that Clayface was the one in the final confrontation, just to make Batman think that it was Clayface the whole time.
Okay.
This is major confusing, but
yeah, this gets a little rough.
This is why this is not adapted.
Plus, Batman never checking the coffin in the animated one we just saw.
Yeah.
That's almost out of character, but he was very heartbroken.
Grieving.
He was grieving as fuck. So yeah, he
and
didn't want to see his dead son's face, probably.
Yeah, I mean they call that out in both Under the Red Hood and Death of the Family. So I excuse it because they call it out.
It does make sense. Yeah. But it's something you notice. It's some you know. if you're a Bat fan, you notice that kind of stuff.
Yes, that's true. Even though I love, I loved our interview with Cole Vallis, who was Tommy Elliott. Check that out if you haven't seen it. I did, when I read the actual Hush arc, I was kind of disappointed it wasn't Jason Todd at that time. It just seemed too good of a twist.
Missed opportunity. You think even to this day?
Yeah, because the way it's set up and like Batman's like putting all the clues together in that issue, being like, oh, like the thing that cut my bat line, only a few people would have that skill to do that.
Right.
But in reality, it turns out to be his like doctor friend from childhood. Like it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that the Tommy Elliott twist was nearly as good as the Jason Todd twist. But
it makes more sense, to be Jason Todd.
Yeah. But if they did that, we wouldn't have gotten Under the Red Hood. So
yep, that's true. Maybe they probably headed that way, and it might have changed somewhere in editorial or something.
Maybe I think Jeff Loeb, who wrote Hush, is on record saying that he kind of wanted the opening there, just if anybody wanted it, but it wasn't where he personally was going.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know. I personally think I prefer Jason as Hush, but
somebody at the higher up said no to Loeb,
but then yes to Judd Winnick. From the real world.
People don't people don't make sense, man. Bottom line, people don't make sense, Ben.
To be fair, the Under Red Hood story I actually prefer over Hush. I know that might be a bold statement because Hush is considered to be like one of the greatest Batman stories.
I agree, honestly. I think Under the Red Hood is Under Red Hood's cool. Red Hood's
there's
just
so much more emotion.
Even though he's whiny, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see why Hush is iconic, but it has not struck me the same way it has struck many others. I'll say that much, Ben.
There's a different feel because it's got the shadow of the Death in the Family story from 1988 over it. You don't have that effect with Hush.
Right. Hush came out and when? Late
2003? 2003.
Is that recent?
Yeah.
Wow, I thought it was 90s maybe. Okay.
No. Yeah, 2003 was Hush, and then Jason came back around like 2005, so it was very close.
Okay.
From Hush to Under the Red Hood.
Okay.
Anyway, so. And then it ends with the whole twist that Talia shows up with Damian.
Baby Damian.
With baby Damian. Now this...
Little blue eyes.
Jason says that he read in the Bat computer that the baby was like no more. Apparently she had a miscarriage and stuff. And she's like, that was a lie so that Bruce would go back to you. Go back to the family. This is a reference to real comic book history. In 1987... in the storyline Son of the Demon, Bruce and Talia have, of course, an affair. They have sex.
Batman fucks.
Yes, Batman fucks. And she claims to have a miscarriage at one point, but at the end it's revealed that she gave the baby up for adoption.
Okay.
And then this was then written out of continuity.
Okay.
Supposedly at the time. Grant Morrison, being who he is and thinking everything was canon, brings it back in 2006 and names the kid Damian. So,
I forget Grant Morrison created Damian.
Yeah. So that's the reference there.
Okay.
Is the whole idea of you were lied to or you didn't think that was real and then it turns out it is.
Right.
So
real inside baseball on that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also weird to me. I think Damian has blue eyes and Talia is like you have your father's eyes, but Bruce has brown eyes in the cartoon. So I think something got messed up there. But that's just a little thing.
Right. I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Superman has blue eyes.
Yeah.
But I guess Bruce has brown eyes, right? Generally,
he has blue eyes in the comics, but they draw it so different all the time anyway.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I'm saying in the continuity of Death in the Family and Under the Red Hood, he's got brown eyes.
Right.
Because we've been watching that movie for years, and
I
probably would have noticed if he had striking blue eyes like Damian did.
Right.
Oh well.
They don't know what they're doing. Just kidding. They do know what they're doing.
These are great Batman movies. All right.
They just forgot that one part.
Any closing thoughts on Jason Todd's Rebellion before we go into the next version?
So this is the one with the Hush part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was not my favorite.
I agree.
Yeah.
I thought it would be.
I wish I had a better commentary for you at this moment, but I'm still unpacking, I guess.
Right. Again, just saw it, everybody.
But yeah, it's worth a look for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one is Red Hood's Reckoning, which is the one where Batman's able to rescue Batman, but then there's the explosion, and then Batman dies, and Jason still becomes the Red Hood anyway.
Still bleak.
Yes. So there's a lot here where it seems like he lives out under the Red Hood. They even the whole bridge confrontation. It doesn't look like they even had John DiMaggio redub his lines as the Joker. They just had Vincent Martella. Okay, so just a quick side tangent. Vincent Martella did the voice of young Jason Todd in Under the Red Hood 10 years ago.
Right.
And then they brought him back for this.
Okay. That's cool.
So that's the way the voice is different for Red Hood. And plus it makes sense because in this version, this is Jason's reaction right after the explosion.
Right.
As opposed to something that happens like many years later.
Right.
So it makes sense here. But the whole bridge confrontation is basically what's in Under the Red Hood. But Vincent Martella is saying different dialogue as Jason Todd up there.
Okay.
So that was cool. I also noticed, because this is the second time around when I showed it to you, there's a hint that Black Mask is actually dead in there, because if you watch Under the Red Hood, when Joker pours the gasoline in the truck, you see Black Mask in there yelling at him. And in this version, you don't see Black Mask at all.
Okay, yeah.
And that's to set up the reveal later on when Joker's like, you've been killing people this whole time and you've been repressing it. Yeah.
Right.
So that was cool. That was a hell of a reveal. The reveal where Jason takes off his mask in front of Joker feels like it's a reference to the original reveal that Jason Todd was Red Hood in the comics, because that's how they revealed it, as we talked about in the Under the Red Hood deep dive on there. As well as the scene of Joker talking about how, like, you're closer to my side of the line now. Like, I'm your real daddy type of thing. And, of course, the line, "One bad day," is another reference to the Killing Joke.
Yes. Notice that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the biggest surprise
Tell him.
Made my jaw drop was the Batman of Zur-En-Arr. I heard the words Zur-En-Arr, and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Really?
So this made your jaw drop because I assume it's not in the comics.
I mean, it is in the comics, but not in anything related to Jason Todd.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You didn't see it coming in this storyline.
No, because there was no hints of it ever happening. And
so this is a total a liberty they've taken.
Well, of course, I mean, it's a liberty
in
the first place because of the fact that this is an alternate world where Bruce is believed to be dead and Jason becomes Red Hood anyway.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for
but
sure.
Because once he let Joker live, I was wondering why the runtime on the short was still going. I was like, credits can't be that long.
Right.
What else is going to happen? What could possibly happen? And then I heard Zur-En-Arr, and I was like, oh, shit.
Zur-En-Arr's, was he in Brave and the Bold, maybe?
He was also in Brave and the Bold, yeah.
So this is not his debut. His first serious debut, though.
Well, okay, so let me go into the history, a brief history of the Batman of Zur-En-Arr. Okay, so in Batman number 113 from 1958, there is a story called the Superman of Planet X. And
sounds silly, and I love it.
Batman goes to this planet that's called interchangeably Planet X in Zur-En-Arr.
Okay.
And Bruce is able to fly and have the powers of Superman on this planet.
Sounds great. I want to read it immediately.
And on that world, though, is their own alien Batman. He's the Batman of Zur-En-Arr, and he's in the alternate suit of the purple, red, and yellow colors.
Okay.
And at the end, it's sort of ambiguous whether or not Bruce was actually there at Zur-En-Arr or if he had a dream. So the story was written by Francis Heron and art by Dick Sprang. Classic. It was adapted into a Brave and the Bold episode called The Super Batman of Planet X, and they actually got Kevin Conroy to do the voice of the Batman of Zur-En-Arr.
He's like, yeah, I'll take a humongous payday for a day's work.
Welcome to the planet of Zur-En-Arr, he says at one point.
Welcome all this money to my wallet.
So, just like most things in the Silver Age, it's forgotten for many years until Grant Morrison once again shows up in the around 2006 to 2008 or so.
There are reports that Grant Morrison will read the entire run.
Oh yeah,
of a character. He did it for Flash, Batman. Like he's got it all. I'm assuming for Superman too when he did All Star. Like every single comic. That's what they say. I kind of believe it.
No, I do want to do a future episode where we break down Grant Morrison's chronology of Batman's career leading up to his thing, because
I would love that.
He did very specific things that brought back the Silver Age elements, including the Batman of Zur-En-Arr. So in this version, Bruce Wayne is psychologically attacked by the Black Glove group, and he suddenly starts saying Zur-En-Arr, and he puts on the purple, red, and yellow outfit.
If you're unfamiliar listening to this, it's a purple, red, and yellow bat suit, essentially.
Yes,
it's wild.
it
There
is.
are even action figures of it, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would love to have one. Anybody send that along, please. And he's a more unhinged Batman. He's apparently called, like, when you take Bruce Wayne out of the equation, you get the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. He's
Okay.
Some people have also called him Hobo Batman because Bruce Wayne is out in the streets as the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh.
He's Bizarro Batman in a sense.
Kind of, yeah.
it's the Bizarro
it's still
kind of
Bruce
thing.
though. It's still Bruce.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got like Bat Mike talking to him as like a devil over his shoulder, and like I'm sure people who weren't familiar with the '50s stuff is like, what the fuck is this?
People shit on that silliness, but man, I love it, dude. I
Yeah.
find it so. I like wacky. I'm a big fan of wacky.
Morrison has completely recontextualized this though, because we
Yeah,
find
yeah, I
out
understand,
in
yeah.
Batman R.I.P. is the arc
Mm-hmm.
where they bury him alive.
Mm-hmm.
And he breaks out, but when he breaks out, he's back into his regular outfit, and he's over being the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. Because it turns out the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh was, you're going to laugh, an alternate personality contingency plan that he created in case of psychological attack. He could become the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh in case anybody tried to break him psychologically.
So there's no like other planet in this one.
No, it was supposed, like, anything that had to do with weird shit like other planets and stuff.
Yeah.
Grant Morrison chalked it up to hallucinations or after effects from the Scarecrow's fear gas and Joker's toxins and stuff.
As you do.
As you do.
As you do. Okay.
So that's where that comes from, that idea of Bruce Wayne getting broken and having this alternate personality of Batman Zur-En-Arrh comes from the Grant Morrison comic. And at the end of Batman R.I.P., you get the flashback of the murders of Thomas and Martha Wayne, where Bruce is talking about how great it would be if Zorro was on the streets. And Thomas Wayne says, I'm pretty sure they would lock someone like Zorro in Arkham. And that is
Right.
the origin of where Zur-En-Arrh comes from. That's how Grant Morrison recontextualizes where that word even comes from.
But that's incredible.
Yeah.
But when it was first made, it was just some random bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So Grant Morrison gets major points.
I'm curious what he thinks of this movie, because
Yeah.
there was no indication whatsoever that I would see any Grant Morrison stuff in this.
I mean, he doesn't own any of it, but I'm sure he's seen it.
I'm sure he loves it, yeah.
He's. I mean, he likes. Obviously, he likes wacky too.
Right.
You know, but it's amazing that he was able to change Zur-En-Arrh to Zorro and Arkham. And it's incredible.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool.
And to put that as like Thomas Wayne's last words, and to make that a sign of his trauma still haunting him, and in this version, the only words he's able to say in the movie.
He's also like a sorcerer.
Yes.
He does a lot of he likes
Indeed.
occult shit.
Yes.
Have you looked up? He does like there's something called, oh god, it's like an occult Comic-Con, like a convention, and he's a fucking main speaker of it. Or he's one of the top speakers, and he talks about doing his occult practices and shit, and it's wild. I think he's a little drunk, and dude, it's nuts. He says that he was again. Remember, he's a writer, but he makes stories. But he says that he was abducted in the Himalayas or something, because he said that whenever he got rich off of writing Arkham Asylum,
Yeah.
that was the first time he experienced like a shitload of money. Late 80s, right? Early 90s. He would go on all these trips all over the world. And being Grant Morrison, he was definitely going to Tibet. And
Of course, yeah.
walking up the Himalayas is probably the fucking altitude that got him. But he says he was abducted by aliens there or something. I love the wackiness of Grant Morrison. I think he's great. We
Right.
all know that. They're Ellison's podcast, but
Yeah.
I feel like I'm retreading shit a lot. But anyway,
What did you think of this version of Red Hood's Reckoning with the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh?
the Zur-En-Arrh fight's short.
Yeah,
Very short. I kind of want a little more. That was my main takeaway.
Gotcha.
I like how fight choreography wise, it's cool that we obviously know that Red Hood is really adept in knife fighting. And is that basically his number 2, you'd say, after guns? Seems like he's a lot of knives with him.
Yeah, partially because of that dagger that Talia gave him, which you guys
Right.
might notice in the movie Bruce has now as the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh.
Right, I did
Yeah.
notice that. And so it goes through his hand, and it's just like, there's something cool about it ending short too, I guess, but I don't know, I want a little more out of it. But
Yeah.
other than that, shit, I'd I like that they brought Zero and R there, and that's cool. That's fun. This is one of the better ones for sure.
Definitely.
I don't know what my favorite one would be just yet, honestly. Right. But maybe I'll figure it out as we keep going.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got one more to go, which is Robin's Revenge.
Okay.
Which still has Batman dying from the explosion, except Jason Todd instead becomes Red Robin, as we referenced in the sketch earlier. For you guys who might be wondering what the hell that was.
I feel like if a casual fan is watching this, it would be tough to know what's going on, kind of. I don't know.
You kind of have to be somebody who's a comic book fan and saw Under the Red Hood.
Yeah, I like that they don't make it easy. It's more for hardcore fans.
Right,
but
yeah, I appreciate
I was
that
just
too.
thinking about, like, if I showed this to my dad, I'd be like, well, that's a different Robin, and that Batman's not even Bruce Wayne. Like, I don't know. I was just thinking, like, all kinds of shit like that. Like,
because we got Dick Grayson as Batman in these last two.
Yeah, it's not a show for the basic bat. Yeah, that's for sure.
Don't be a basic bat. This short contains a favorite scene. At one of the DC fandoms, they revealed that they asked, what was your favorite scene in this without giving anything away? And Brandon Vietti, the director, says, Jason Todd walks into a diner. And Vincent Martella agreed, and so did John DiMaggio. And I had no idea what the hell that meant until I saw this.
Right.
So Jason Todd walks in. You guys have probably seen this already if you've gotten this far on the podcast. And he ends up sitting down to a man who turns out to be the Joker, who's quote unquote cured, and is a regular man.
Never believe that.
Right. And this is a reference. This is the second time that my jaw dropped because I saw this one last.
Oh, okay.
And I showed this one to you last.
Yeah.
Because this is a reference to one of my favorite Joker stories called Going Sane.
Okay.
It's by J.M. DeMatteis with Joe Staton as penciler, and the idea is Joker thinks that Batman's dead, and he has nothing to go off of anymore, so he becomes cured and becomes a normal guy named Joe Kerr, with like regular flesh.
They also did this in Harley Quinn, I guess.
Yeah, and that's what the reference is for.
Yeah,
is from Going Sane.
Okay.
And it just so happens that they did this in this one too.
Yeah.
On there. So I was surprised, and then for him to go into the Killing Joke from the finale where he's talking about the two lunatics in the asylum.
Yeah.
That was basically they combined so many different things. You had Going Sane, you had the Killing Joke, and then Jason stabs him in the eye, and it creates the effect that you saw when Joker died in The Dark Knight Returns, when he had Batman's Batarang in his eye with a smile on his face.
Right.
So there's so many different references on here, and it's a fantastic scene. It's one of my favorite scenes.
This is your favorite one?
I think, just to give you guys a preview, I think the Red Hood Reckoning is probably my favorite, just overall as a short.
That's the one with the Hush?
The Zur-En-Har.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
But I think this one has the strongest scene with the diner.
I see. Yeah.
So
we can't count the first one with Superman at the end?
That's at the bottom for me because that was the most boring one for me. Like, keep in mind.
Really?
Well, when was the last time you saw Under the Red Hood?
Yeah, you've been watching it. You watched 2 or 3 times recently?
I watched it, yeah. I watched it recently, so I'm like, I don't need this recap. I've seen this movie.
I understand. I think I could see why that was boring, but shit, man. I really love Bruce's narration.
It's a great narration. If you're going to do a recap of Under the Red Hood, that's the way to do it, but I did not sign up for that.
There's absolutely nothing new in it?
Outside of the
Superman part?
Well, I mean, the stuff leading up to the explosion, there's still a new stuff of, like, the scenes where he benches Jason and the flashback to Thomas and Martha Wayne's death and, you know, him telling Jason not to go to the warehouse.
Even if it's a recap, you still get...
you get a little bit of Bruce's...
You get more Bruce's insight, though.
Yeah.
You know, so that's at least something new there.
It's true. That's... Again, if you're going to do a recap, that's the best way to recap it. But you have to keep in mind, like, I saw this, and I thought that was it. I thought that I was ripped off on this digital thing. Yeah. I didn't realize that the other stuff was in the bonus features and not actually edited in to the main thing.
I forget the actual quote, too, but there was a couple lines in there that were, like, I thought pretty well written. Like, pretty, like, kind of, you know, deep kind of stuff that you see every now and again in comic books.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm skipping ahead, but I think either that one, because it's been a while since I've seen Under the Red Hood, and Superman's in it, so that's cool. But maybe Zur-En-Arrh.
Yeah.
But what was the one with the repressed memories?
Zur-En-Arrh.
Oh, so yeah, that is my favorite.
Hood's
That
Reckoning.
was the other one.
All right,
Yeah,
we're in agreement on that one.
yeah,
then.
yeah. Because I mean, it's been done before, but repressed memories, almost like alternate personality, like Fight Club kind of thing or whatever. It's been done a lot, but I don't know. It was good. I thought.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was done well.
No. If it was just that part, then I probably wouldn't rank it as high. But when you throw in the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh on top of that, I was like, okay, this is definitely
the cherry on the top. Cherry on top.
But I still liked seen Robin's Revenge as the last one because of the whole, because of the fact that we had the Joker scene.
Joker scene. Oh man, yeah. That was good. That's the one that 20-year-old me would have loved. Is the fucking knife in the eye.
Oh, that part. I was mainly talking about the stuff leading up to that. But yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. But if I was 20 years old and I was talking to you now, I think that would be my favorite.
Gotcha.
For some reason, just because I was a dark boy. But but. I don't know. Yeah, it's stuff. Maybe you just get older or something. I don't know what it is, but interesting. Just straight up murder. Why do you? It was just to get revenge for the
pretty much
for the crowbar.
Yeah. I think so. And plus, I think you could tell that Joker was coming out when he was talking to him.
Yeah. I thought we were gonna get a laugh.
I mean, we did.
Did he laugh before he died?
Yeah,
he did.
Think so.
Okay,
I think so. Yeah.
And then it was cool when the cops showed up too. It was kind of like tense in that moment.
Yeah, no,
which is cool.
It's a fantastic moment. I get why that's their favorite scene.
Yeah,
it's great. Yeah. But there's still more to this. So Robin's Revenge features Jason becoming Red Robin.
Yes,
not named after the burger joint. So what is the history of Red Robin, and why the hell is Jason Red Robin in this?
South Park did this whole thing about they had a wedding at Red Robin to make fun of Game of Thrones, and then some shit went down.
Really?
For the Red Wedding.
Yeah,
that was amazing. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, when I think of Red Robin these days, I actually think of that too. The fucking episode.
Well, the first Red Robin was actually Dick Grayson in Kingdom Come.
I forgot that wasn't Tim Drake.
Yeah, it was Mark Waid and Alex Ross creating that. Alex Ross designed that costume.
Yeah, we got to do a Kingdom Come at one point.
I have to think about what stuff that people don't know about Kingdom Come would be.
Oh, there's got to be many things. Alex Ross, what's he up to?
Alex Ross, please come on to the podcast. But the next time we saw Red Robin was in 2005's Infinite Crisis.
Okay.
And that's where the Jason of our world ended up meeting, because this is a whole Infinite Crisis is like all the multiverse. So you meet different alternate worlds. Jason of the regular continuity ended up meeting the Earth 51 Batman.
Okay.
Earth 51 Batman is pretty much like the Ben Affleck Batman of Batman v Superman. His reaction to Jason's death was to kill everybody.
So you're saying Snyder's comic book accurate then?
To the Earth 51 Batman.
Hey, Snyder versus what is it? What if Snyder all along was like, hey, I was Earth 51 all the time, and like,
he doesn't.
God damn it, we nerds need to rethink our rage.
He doesn't quite look like Ben Affleck, or Ben Affleck doesn't look like the Batman of the Earth 51. But this version killed Joker after Jason died, and then went off and decided to kill all the other supervillains, and is at odds with the rest of the Justice League of his Earth. Funny enough, this is exactly what Jason wanted. And under Red Hood, remember the whole conflict was because Batman didn't avenge his death.
Yeah.
So, but Jason doesn't actually like how cynical Batman has become in this version, and he's kind of become dead inside. And like Batman doesn't even want to go out and fight as part of this. He wants to just hunker down with Jason in the Batcave. And Jason talks him into going back up there. So Batman's like, all right, I'll put the suit back on, but you're going to need to suit up too. Here's the suit that I would have given my Earth's Jason if he grew into it. And that is the Red Robin suit.
Okay, and that starts off. Is Red Robin start off in Kingdom Come?
He was in Kingdom Come, but remember that's like an alternate future.
Yeah, it's Elseworlds.
So
that's like the Elseworlds.
Yes,
is Kingdom Come.
This is the Earth 51's Red Robin suit on our Earth's Jason Todd. This is kind of confusing unless you're really into the multiverse stuff, guys.
Red Robin was in Cape and Cowl, a documentary I made way back in the day. Yeah.
But yeah, technically Jason in Infinite Crisis was Red Robin before Tim Drake. Tim Drake didn't become Red Robin until 2006.
He was just a Robin.
He was just Robin, yeah.
Yeah.
So that is why Jason becomes Red Robin in this short.
Real quick, what are the main differences other than the people, I guess, of Robin and Red Robin? I don't know how to phrase the question, but like if they're
what does
like,
Tim change by becoming Red Robin?
If you looked at like the back of their, I know Marvel had the Fleeter cards, but the DC Fleeter cards, if they made them, like what would be on the back of those, like as far as like major differences?
In the comics, Tim Drake became Red Robin so that anything that he did would not be associated with the Batman family. So it was like a whole new identity for him, even though it was just the word Red.
Still Robin.
Though, yeah, I know.
I remember the guy that played Red Robin in my movie, in our movie that we made. He said that he loved Tim Drake because he didn't do things out of tragedy. He didn't need a tragedy for motive.
Right.
Like every other character seemed to. He just straight up wanted to do good. Like he was kind of a Boy Scout as much as Superman was.
Right, yeah.
You know? So I think that shit's that's cool. It's cool that they write characters like that.
Yeah, because his parents were still alive at the time that he wanted to become Robin. They killed him off later. But like it's...
Dude, these heroes, man, they gotta fucking watch out for their parents, dude.
Yeah. Well, the Earth 51 Batman fights with Red Robin in Infinite Crisis, and the Earth 51 Batman ends up getting killed at one point, and one of the alternate universe Jokers is like taunting Red Robin about the death of his mentor, and Jason ends up killing him before joining the rest of the fight. And then he kind of just gives up the Red Robin name at the end, and that was it at the time. But that's why Jason is Red Robin. And there's also another small, subtle Easter egg that I wouldn't have thought of unless it was revealed in DC Fandom. But when Red Robin gets knocked out by Two-Face, Two-Face throws a grenade and a big, giant phone advertisement falls on him.
Okay, yeah.
That's a tie-in to the fact that the phone calls were the ones that actually killed Jason Todd.
Oh, my God.
In Death in the Family.
See, I didn't think about it because it's like a smartphone in it.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's still a phone, though.
Yeah.
It's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good Easter egg.
That's a good one, Brandon Vietti.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the confrontation with Two-Face here is significant because of the fact Two-Face killed his dad. There's a bit of a reference to it in the movie. It's kind of implied. It's obviously more overt in the comics. This is also why in the animated series, Tim Drake in the Batman animated series in the 90s or so was kind of a combination of Jason Todd and Tim Drake. His dad was Two-Face's henchman named Stephen Shifty Drake in the episode of Sins of the Father and was killed.
Shifty.
Or was disappeared.
Shifty.
The fact that Two-Face had killed one of Robin's parents may have been the influence of why Two-Face was the one who killed the Graysons in Batman Forever. Different Robin, but still. But that's the significance on here. And of course in the comics it was the classic, like once Bruce found out that Two-Face had killed Jason's parents, or Jason's dad, really. He tried to keep it from Jason. Jason ended up finding out anyway, and nearly killed Two-Face, but was persuaded by Batman to not cross the line, and so Two-Face was caught, just like in the movie, where he's persuaded by a random appearance of Tim Drake.
Yeah, that was okay.
That was not quite what I was expecting, and now Tim Drake is Bat-Kid in this continuity.
The thing is, like, that would have been great for, like, a Brave and the Bold thing, something, like, aimed towards actual kids.
Right.
But this is, like, one of the darker...
This is an R-rated.
Straight up R-rated, right? Yeah. There's a literally R-rated Batman story. So it could have probably should have gone a different direction, that one, that little part, but... Who am I? Just some fucking jackass on the internet.
Any other thoughts on Robin's revenge?
Not as good as Zero and R1.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it was good. It was okay. I probably liked it more in the Hush one.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so maybe the rankings are the same there.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will put up a Twitter poll to see which was your favorite branch of Under the Red Hood. I mean, not Under the Red Hood. I'm getting mixed up now. Death in the Family.
Can't believe you.
And that is superhero stuff you should know. So one of the comments was from John Wells, who comments on our stuff a lot. He said on the Under the Red Hood deep dive, he said, quote, "I really believe that this story would have been a great first Ben Affleck Batman film. Not a direct adaptation, but maybe the essence of it."
It's okay. I can actually tangent off of this for a little bit.
Sure.
Watching this movie 2 hours ago or less,
Right.
I was thinking, man, it seems like they're headed for Court of Owls for the Matt Reeves Batman 2, if that ever gets fucking made. But man, what a great third one, because then you can bring Joker in, but he's not really the main villain, and we won't have a fucking like rehash Joker story again. It is about Joker. I mean, Joker should obviously do some fucked up shit in it, but it'd be kind of tough because you have all this fucking Jason Todd and all these people to
You'd
fucking
have to
tell.
introduce Jason Todd
There's a lot going
in the
on,
second
but
one and kill him off.
that's the thing. So this may be a lot. Do you think they could put in Court of Owls and Jason Todd in the same fucking story?
It'd be a little crowded, and plus, like, you would still need Jason Todd to be killed by Joker, so you'd still have to have Joker show up in the second movie for that to happen. Because otherwise,
That'd be crowded as hell.
Why would he call himself the Red Hood if he wasn't killed by Joker?
Yeah, it'd be crowded as fuck. Well, anyway, it'd be cool if they put it in there somewhere. I mean,
Right.
it seems like they're headed towards a live adaptation at some point, like a movie.
At some point, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is Under the Red Hood doesn't quite work for Batfleck if Batfleck's already crossed the line, in my opinion.
That's true. That's true.
so.
There. Have you seen the
well.
interviews of Zack Snyder saying pretty much my Batman kills? Like he's pretty much
Oh, yeah.
unapologetic about
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
We'll dive into it when we get into the
At
Zack
least he's
Snyder
not
deep
like a
dives.
lying politician about it. That's cool. At least
Yeah.
he's like, well,
He owns it. Yeah.
He owns it. He
Yeah.
owns it. So it's whatever.
Yeah.
And obviously, people love the fuck out of him.
Yes.
So
Let's see. On to the next comment. Oh, yes, and thank you, John Wells. Next one is from Randall Flagg. I'm assuming that's from The Stand, based off of the profile picture that I
Yeah.
saw of that. But he said he had a comment on our Hush interview with Cole Vallis. He's a big Hush fan. He says, "Damn, that guy is really likable. Great interview. I was also, no offense to Mr. Gordon Winterick, of course, hoping to see Mr. Cole Vallis back as full-fledged Hush later on, and always wondered why he was recast. Oh well, at least as much as Batwoman sucks as a show, in my humble opinion, at least Gabriel Mann finally gave us an adult Tommy Elliott that I really enjoy. To be honest, I'm such a Hush fanboy. I've watched the end of season 1 post-crisis of Batwoman, just because I heard Tommy was coming back. Oh, nice, right when I was writing that, you guys mentioned the Batwoman episode and Gabriel Mann. Smiley face. He first popped up in the 3rd episode and then became a regular in Arkham Asylum in the second half of the season. I own every single Hush-related comic book out there, and I'm really hoping that they give him a new storyline soon. Last time we saw him for a full issue was before the Batcat wedding, when it was revealed that Tommy got surgery to look just like Dick Grayson, Nightwing. And
this is wild.
I'm assuming that they were able to figure out it wasn't Dick Grayson because of the ass was just not matching up to.
It's not the same, man. Not the same.
Randall says, sadly, that wasn't explored much in spite of the many opportunities brought by Dick's amnesia, and Hush was only seen in the background a couple times during the Tom King-Bane storyline. Anyway, once again, great interview. Wish I could have seen that sooner. And by the way, I think there was a slight misunderstanding from what Cole was saying. I'm pretty sure he meant that his favorite Nolanverse movie was The Dark Knight, not The Dark Knight
He
Rises.
does make a mistake in that episode.
Yeah.
He just forgot the names of them.
Yeah. Pretty much the rest of Randall's comment is on that. But that's pretty much what it was. But
I
thank you, Randall.
remember him making that mistake.
Yeah.
But
Because we were confused.
Yeah. I think we did check him on a little bit, but he
just kept going.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't know. But anyway.
Yeah. Oh well. But thank you, Randall. And hopefully we might have some more Hush related stuff soon for you. So
perhaps, maybe.
Perhaps, yes. But
I wonder if Hush was an injustice as a fighting game fan myself.
I don't think.
What moves would he have?
He was in DC Universe Online. I don't think he was in Injustice.
No, he's not. But like they might add him.
Yeah.
I wonder.
we'll see.
They're gonna add. I mean, they've added fucking almost everybody.
Quoting
I bet you
Aristotle.
anything. Calling it right now, due to his kind of weird popularity, King Shark. He's been in like 20
coming.
things so far, and the Flash has been in it forever since the first one. So. Anyway, yeah.
Anyway,
God, I should do an Injustice deep dive at some point. As a huge fighting game fan.
Yep.
What else
right.
we got, man?
Leading into the shoutouts.
Okay, so like to thank once again Kooky Noms, Matt Herring, Elijah B, Shamrock Balls, Aaron Willett, Ian H, Dan D, Leom O, and last but not least, most certainly, Super Inframan.
Yes.
And please join the Shasta Army. That's the $1 tier on patreon.com/superherostuffpod. And then please leave us a review on iTunes, and that always helps out a lot. And then please use your voice recorder app on your phone and record us a little something, and then send that little something to email it to SuperHousePodcast@gmail.com, and you too can be on the show. I am Thunderwolf Drew on Twitter and Instagram. Please check us out on YouTube if you're not already. We just launched the Ben Cave show.
Yes.
And more on that coming. And that's it for me signing off.
And you can follow me as Ben Juan Writer on Instagram, and you can find us on Instagram at Superhero Stuff Pod. And you can watch The Ben Cave if you like, comment, and subscribe on the channel. Other than that, see you later. Signing off.